Sketchy. Welcome back. This is Josh. This is Sketchy. This is my iPad screen as I draw cartoon ducks. It's a thing. Cartoon Duck Advent 2022 continues with Darkwing Duck. I'm left with an unusually long amount of time. I think I did a different time-lapse setting, so I've got like 6 minutes to talk about Darkwing Duck, a show I must admit I never have watched. I'm aware of it fully. I was a Disney afternoon kid. I enjoyed my DuckTales and my Rescue Rangers, but Darkwing came along a little bit later when I had moved on, I think, to other things. And but you know what? It's a great design. It was as soon as I said I was drawing ducks for the month of December, a lot of people began to demand Darkwing Duck be included, and I certainly who am I to disappoint people when it comes to ducks? But also, this is a really fun design, and this was a really pleasant one to work on. I did revise this again. There's something about the face, even when we get to the end of this video. I never know which version of the finished picture I've included. I'm sorry about that. But there's just something not quite right with the eyes and the bill where it all comes together. It looks a little cross-eyed. Again, that's kind of intrinsic to the design of the character, but I wasn't happy with it as far as the symmetry and the energy of the picture goes. I thought it was a little distracting, but yeah, this is from an interesting era in Disney. Again, I haven't watched this show, so I don't know. I assume it's a spin-off of the DuckTales universe. I think, wasn't Launchpad McQuack in this show, in this series? I see him in a lot of the promotional materials, so I assume that he was. But I just drew the duck, and I had a good time doing it. Struggled a little bit. I don't know. If you look at this series, I tried to keep it mixed up, and usually Disney is where I'm in my wheelhouse. So the Ludwig von Drake and the Daisy Duck and upcoming notable ducks. I guess I won't spoil them, but it's pretty obvious where I'm going with this Christmas-themed duck project. For some reason, this one was a little more of a struggle. Maybe because of a lack of familiarity. It's very interesting and unique kind of design. He's got more in common with Launchpad than with the more traditional Disney ducks. Also, it's extremely 90s kind of a vibe. I mean, he's essentially the Spirit, right? That's what it looks like to me. Or the Shadow, that's what I mean, the Shadow. Which I think that Alec Baldwin version of the Shadow came out round about this time. I just wonder if it's any kind of a direct inspiration for this character. I'm sorry, I don't have more to say. I wish that I watched every episode and I was a huge fan and I wanted to gush about the show, but it's a cool design. I feel like those feet came out very nicely in the drawing. I was happy with that. It's a nice amount of energy. It's kind of hard for me. It's one of the things I struggle with is drawing full body action poses, and I push myself to do that. Did that with the recent Atlantis pictures, and when I draw characters, I tend to want to put them in some kind of an acting or action pose rather than just a head and shoulders kind of portrait. And I knew especially with Darkwing, I had to incorporate some action into the pose. And then it ended up being the face that was a bigger challenge. Again, I'm not sure how much of that. Oh, you know what I believe I have done? I'm not certain that I've done this, but I believe that I have included in the end the Procreate export of the time lapse. There are two different forms of time lapse available to me. This is a screen capture, so this is iOS recording the screen of my iPad while I draw, and then I use video software later to speed it up and create a time lapse. That's generally how I create these episodes. But then you can also at any time in Procreate use its own tools to export a time lapse, which will just be your whole canvas. It doesn't move around like this because it's not recording the iPad screen. It's not interested in me zooming in. It's just capturing every stroke that I make during the creation of a image, and then exporting a video, in 30-second video of that process. And I pretty certain that I've included it here to just show how many times I revised the face on Darkwing. It was a lot, and it required repainting of the top half of the drawing several times. I believe we're going to see that momentarily. But I'm kind of, halfway in between wanting to draw quickly and toss off something that whatever comes out is what comes out, and if I'm happy with it, I'm happy with it. But I'm also willing to redraw if something's not right and I want it to, if it's good enough and worthwhile enough, I will keep at it and I'll redraw the same picture as many times as I need to get it right. And we are coming to the end of the coloring process here, and then we'll see a very fast replay of the entire process again, including stuff that wasn't included in the original iPad recording of all the revisions that were made. So we're going to see this process up until I finish the initial draft, all the way up to a signing of the image, which I think is about to happen here. I'm trying to find the right color for the eyes. It's supposed to be a bright light blue. I believe that changes again in the final version. But there we go. Signature, and now here we go with the Procreate time lapse back to the beginning, much faster. Just keep an eye on the face to see how many. It actually ends up looking a little animated. It'll flicker a lot as I make my revisions, and then you'll see the final picture. And so that's about it. Thank you for spending this time with me. More drawings, more ducks, and then, of course, always more art to come. Look at that. Oh, what is going on? There we go. All right, bye.